Hey guys, it's your girl Kisei, and today I'm here for Artistic Behavior, talking about complexion brushes. In case this is your first time joining me, my name is Kisei Barti. I'm a New Jersey licensed cosmetologist. I have 20 years of experience in the field. I love to do a little bit of everything in this field, but two of my main passions are skincare and makeup. And today we'll be talking about complexion brushes, and that definitely bridges the gap between skincare and makeup. I'll be going over each brush that I use to do concealer, foundation, setting, highlight, contour, blush, and finishing. As I'm discussing each brush, I'll go over if the brush is synthetic or natural, the overall shape of the bristles, the handle of the brush, and lastly how to use it and the finish the brush will give you. With that being said, let's just discuss why it's so important to use a brush. It's going to be way more hygienic than using your fingers. It's going to give you a flawless and natural looking finish for your makeup. It makes it way easier to apply your products. And it gives the makeup a lasting finish. So instead of lasting an hour, it might last 5 or 6 hours using a brush. With that being said, let's hop right into it. First, you have your concealer brush. I use two different kinds. I have one that's flat. So these are synthetic, flat, and dense bristles. These are going to pick up a nice amount of product that you can lay down and later buff with your round brush. Your round brush has round, compact bristles that give a nice, flawless finish. When holding both brushes, usually when I'm holding all my brushes, I like to hold them at the end to give the least amount of pigment payoff. Okay? So when I'm using this one, I'm usually painting this into a V. And then I'm using this brush to buff it in. And I love this brush also for color correcting. If I need to pick up more peach or something, I can pick it up easily. With this brush, you want to pick up the product. I like to pick up the product, smooth it on the back of my hand, warm it up with my fingers, take my brush, pounce, pounce, pounce. Make sure there's an even amount of paint on the bottom. You don't want it to be too clumpy in one area, so I like to bounce it around. And then I take it here at a 90-degree angle and I buff all the way in. It's going to give you a nice, flawless finish. Again, these are synthetic. Synthetic is usually Teflon or nylon, and they are going to be good for picking up your creams and your liquids. Okay, so you have your flat concealer brush and your round concealer brush. So a fuller pigment payoff with the denser brushes and more of a buffing effect, buffing airbrush effect with your round one. Next, you have your foundation brushes. There's a few different foundation brushes that you can use. It's really a personal preference. I have a couple different ones that I like to use depending on what, what kind of skin texture I'm working on, what kind of coverage I need. All depends on that. So you have your classic flat brush, which is good to sweep your product on. These bristles are synthetic, and they are nice and dense. They're nice and flat. They're compact, so you can pick a good amount of pigment up with these as well. So if you need to conceal a bigger area, you can use this one as well as use this one for a foundation brush. Again, synthetic, so you want to pick up a good amount of pigment. Now, your handle is longer, so your handle is going to give you a longer handle is going to give you a little bit more control of your product. This is your ferrule. This is where your bristles are put together. The more expensive the brush is usually going to be sewn and glued. If you get a cheaper brush, it's going to be just glued, and then you'll see like the bristles just coming out. So that's the difference. Glued and sewn, or just glued. All right. So longer handle, more control. The more I keep my hand here, the least amount of pigment payoff I have. The closer I bring my hands in, the more I can pick up. Now you want to use this as a sweeping motion. You also can stipple with this. Stippling is if you have a darker space on your face and you don't want to use concealer, you would paint your whole face, but you would go back and just tap on that one area of concern. Stippling. So that's your flat brush. Then you have your round brush. This is also synthetic. This has a shorter handle. This brush is going to give you a nice full coverage. You can use this for powder or for liquid. I love this brush. It's going to give you a great finish. I love to hold my hands here again because it's easier to add more than take off. So I usually again pump some foundation on my hand, dab it in, start from here, and buff myself in. Just buff this all the way in. Alright, as you buff it in, you'll see that you get a nice finish, and you just want to buff. It's all about the buff. Buff, buff, buff. Alright, again, this can be used for liquid or for a powder. Awesome finish. Then you have your longer synthetic foundation brush. These bristles are a little bit longer, a little bit fluffier. They're still round, so they're going to give that nice airbrush finish, but they're just longer. Super long handle, so you have more control. The closer you bring your hands in, again, the fuller your coverage is going to be. So you're going to hold your hand here. This is going to be awesome for you ladies who want to use a tinted moisturizer but don't want too much coverage. This is a great brush for you. Great for the teenage girls who just want a little bit of even coverage, not too much. Awesome brush to use. This is going to distribute a little bit of pigment in a flawless coverage. Alright. The same way I like to apply using this brush. I use this brush. Pump a little bit on my hand. I may swirl it around a little bit, dab, 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 to make sure all the pigment is even on the end. Start from here and buff my way in. Alright. Longer, rounder hair, longer brush. Now, for setting, I use two different brushes. I love to set my concealer brush with an angled synthetic brush. I love to set my concealer powder, with my angled concealer brush. I take this, dab it in my powder, and press underneath. Press. This is going to fit perfectly underneath your eye, so you can get a good amount of pigment pressed into that concealer so it can stay in place. Again, this is your angle synthetic brush. Long handle. Angle is nice and compact, so it's going to pick up a little bit of pigment, so you want to make sure you're tapping that excess off, right? Next, I love to set with this brush. This is like a long round brush. Looser bristles, and not too long of a handle, but I like to take this one when I'm setting, and press. So your setting and your finishing are two different things. I like to set my foundation when I press, I like to set it before I go into my highlight. And I take this brush and just press it in to keep that foundation in place as I add the dimensions to the foundation. Again, nice flat, loose brush. Now we have our highlight and contour brushes. Highlight, I like to do the highlight first. You see these bristles are nice and loose and long, and they are also, this is a synthetic, this is a tack line, this is a high synthetic mix. So you can do a highlight with synthetic or with natural hair. Okay. I don't know if these are I feel like these are synthetic, but they look natural. But anyway, longer hair, it's going to pick up a softer amount of pigment. I hold my hand here. I use just the tip of the brush, tap the edge, and dust on the high points of my face. Wherever you see light is where you're going to use this brush. Wherever you see that natural light, this is where you're going to put that brush. You see I'm holding my hand at a 45-degree angle, very lightly. Then I like to go on my contour. This brush, short, flat, and stubby. Nice, dense brush hairs, so that means it's going to give you a good pigment payoff. Now this one, I definitely hold my hand here at the very end, so it's not giving me too much of a pigment payoff. I'll slice my cheekbone in half and then buff this in. Now you know the closer you bring your fingers, the heavier your contour would get. So if you're going to go out at night, it'd be nicer to bring your hands closer. If you just want a during the day contour, I would leave my hand here. And you want to go wherever you see dark. Wherever you see dark. Alright? And my other contour brush is my eyeshadow brush with long hair. This is long natural hair, long handle. This is going to be good for those small spots that you just want a little bit of contour with. So if you need to make that nose skinnier or those eyes just look a little bit more realistic, you're going to use this brush or a brush that can get up into this area and give you the right amount of payoff for your contour. Now, this is my fluffy contour brush, but I use it for a soft contour or I use it for a blush. Short, round hair, natural bristles with a medium length handle. I'm going to hold my hand here and lightly dust on if I want a contour or a blush. My contour will go here. I will lay here for my blush. Again, you see I'm holding it at a 45-degree angle. I'm not putting too much pigment on. If I'm going to use a brush like this, I'm adding a little bit more pigment. So I'm going to use this angle to drop off less pigment so I can build it and make it look a little bit more natural. Okay. Round, fluffy contour blush brush. Then I have the final brush. This is my long hair round brush. I love this to finish. So finishing is going to give you that nice blur effect. These bristles are synthetic and my handle is just, it's a medium length, it's not too much. They're nice and round, so they're going to really just play on the shapes of the face as I do my my blend for my blur. I start, after I sweep it around in my finishing powder, I tap that excess and I buff all around. Using this to do a finish gives your skin that nice filtered effect. And you buff it all over. It's going to give your skin a nice finish and it's going to help your makeup stay that much longer. You want to use a long hair brush so you're not giving too much of a pigment payoff. Again, that is my longer round brush. So that sums it up for my brushes that I basically use. I want you guys to make sure you are taking proper care of your brush using either a daily brush shampoo or a brush, a deep cleaner shampoo. Your daily brush cleaner is just going to be like a nice little oil, a nice little spray based with some oil that you can just spray on a paper towel and wipe your brush back and forth. That's just good if you're going to use like for everyday use. Now if you want a deep clean, you're going to actually submerge your brushes underwater, use some shampoo, soap them up, and then rinse them out and let them lay flat. You should be doing that at least once a month, twice a month if you wear a lot of makeup and you're prone to break out. You want to care for your brushes. They are an investment, all right? Thank you so much for tuning in. Please leave me comments. Let me know what you want to hear. I hope you learned something. Please subscribe to the channel. Check me out on Facebook.